Alright, we are recording. So, into Return of the Jedi now, which actually starts with a prologue, not a chapter, though I don't know why it's not labeled as just chapter 1, but it's a prologue instead. we shall see. Just do want to quickly cover this. Story by George Lucas, screenplay by Lawrence Kasdan and George Lucas, but the actual author for the book is James Caan. It says. So, yes, I read it from bottom up, but just to, I think that helps with understanding the order, because I would think story by George Lucas as first thing done. Screenplay may have been done second, or at least that is George Lucas worked on that, and then James Caan wrote the novel, very likely from the screenplay, and potentially also story notes. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense that James Caan is up top because this is the book that's by him. But yeah, just I'm guessing that's the order that all this stuff went through. So anyway, yeah, as I said, I'm not sure why this is necessarily a prologue. We may see, because I think it's the only time I've done a prologue. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the only time I did a prologue, it was actually like months prior to when the bulk of the story is, months prior to chapter 1. It's actually funny because I remember it was the first book I wrote, and self-published. And I actually did that, and by the way, it's one of the books that I don't recommend, so I'm not going to name it. But the reason why I did that, I still remember, even though it's been 14 years? No, 13 years. It's because I couldn't think of how to start chapter 1. I legitimately could not think, and it's like, alright, screw it. Do something a little bit before that. The person was the main character is in college, so it's like, okay, I'll just write something this semester before. That flowed perfectly. I had the character introduced and somewhat established. Now I could get into the main body of it. So yeah, that's why. Maybe this is also set months before. I don't know. We will find out from later chapters. But if it isn't, then I don't know why it's a prologue. Aside from it's following Vader, because it's his arrival at the second Death Star. So we'll get through that. One thing, I just realized I have a typo there. It describes in here, because it's literally like in the first page of it. Oh yeah, almost got. Yeah, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. We actually have that written in the book for once. So at the feathered edge of the galaxy, the Death Star floated in stationary orbit above the green moon Endor, a moon whose mother planet had long since died of unknown cataclysm and disappeared into unknown realms. It's not a moon anymore. I mean, just that is, even back then, because I know they've adjusted some things, what's a moon, what's a planet, all that. Even back then, it was still a moon is a satellite, a large natural satellite. Not sure if that is the formal definition, but still a large natural satellite of another body, typically a planet. If the planet's gone, it's not a satellite anymore, so it's not a moon anymore. It would be a planet. Although, well, yes, it would be a planet. I doubt you could have one small or too small, because remember, it does support life on there. We already know that. And I could believe that a moon, even if it had like something the size of Earth's moon, even if it had an atmosphere and such, I could believe it wouldn't be able to support much life. Just I could see gravity itself being sufficiently high levels of gravity itself being necessary. So yeah, it's like this is probably fairly large on the order of a planet, but it's still it's a planet. It's not satellite anymore. It's a planet. But it is I'm trying to remember. I feel like there is a shot in the movie where you do see the planet there. So that might have been something that like initially was written and somebody was like, that's not actually how these work, right? And then it's like, well, the book was already written, so we're not changing. But still, my point being, because I get technical, this is bad science. It just is, which is disappointing, but is what it is. All right. So yes, it's Vader arriving. This is in the movie. I remember being in the movie, even though it's been a while since I watched it. Vader arriving in his shuttle at the Death Star. He comes down the way, and you have the commander there, Jedrod, something like that. And it's interesting how they describe him in the book. Because in the movie, he's not very confident. In the book, he is. He is very confident in the book. So it's like he walks up to Vader, and it is also interesting how it describes that he does not hurry. Like, this is an important thing. Like, as a child, maybe he was, somebody told him, like his father or just somebody he looked up to told him, great men do not hurry. People hurry for great men. So he does not hurry. He will not hurry. Goes up and it's like very respectful, in control, confident, right? Even though it's Vader. Vader does intimidate him. And the Emperor intimidates him, so when Vader says that the Emperor is coming, it even makes a comment in there that, well, even great men occasionally hurry. It's like, he gets, he needs to get the work done, because, the whole, we will, in the movie, I think it's, we will redouble our efforts, whereas in this, it's just, we will double our efforts. Which, maybe I'm just misremembering it, maybe it's just how the actor spoke, but in any case, that they will double their efforts because the Emperor is coming. And I just want to make sure... Oh, yeah. I just also want to make that point. He is not Tarkin. He is confident, but Tarkin, and this is something that it's in the movie too. And, oh man, why am I blanking on his name? Peter Cushing. Peter Cushing was perfect for that role. Just was. I mean, it's like that is one reason why... Like, if they ever tried to remake that movie, which would be interesting, especially if they could bring it a bit more in line with the book, because it does have some things better there. That is one stumbling block I could see that, no, because there is no Peter Cushing today. Anyhow, Tarkin acted the equal to Vader all the time. And there were even moments when he acted as Vader's superior. Okay? Which, in some ways, makes sense. Tarkin's a governor, he's in charge of the Death Star. Like, the whole project is under him. Vader has been assigned there, so technically I could see there being a little bit of a tussle as far as who's in charge. And when Tarkin at times was, I'm in charge. This guy, no. He is not Vader's equal. He does not act like that, but he still acts with confidence. And I do like that better than... Because in the movie, I want to say that he always was... I guess a way to put it is this. He is not equal to Vader, Tarkin is. In the movie, I feel like, and I know it's been a while, like he was acting as though he is Vader's inferior. In this, he is not. I would say he is not acting Vader's inferior. He recognizes he is. He's not dumb. But he still is like, this is my role. I am doing it as I'm supposed to be doing it. I'm doing it the best way I can. And so he has confidence. You come in here and you're telling me this stuff. It's like, hey, we're doing our best. And Vader's like, I have ways of getting people to work more. And he's like, I don't think that will be necessary. He basically, I get your threat. Let me handle it. And then say, the Emperor's coming. We'll get this done. I mean, it's just, anyhow. He is not, until that moment, he is not really inferior to Vader. And even then, I think it is... He still has that internal justification. Well, even great men occasionally have to hurry. And he probably, after that moment when it's like, okay, I need to get this done, he'd be right back up to not being inferior. Not superior, not equal, but not inferior. So, we'll see. We'll see how the character continues. Yeah, one thing. He is surprised in the book that the Emperor is coming. Here's the problem, though. Is that it describes, how everyone has... filed out for Vader's arrival, which is also a little weird because it seems like they didn't know Vader was coming, and yet you've got troops that could just run up and form ranks. In any case, it describes there being stormtroopers, it describes there being the officers, and it describes there being Red Imperial Guards. Why would they be there? Unless the Emperor is coming. I got nothing. I mean, if you want to say, oh, well, they're there to help make sure things are going smoothly, like, just a envoy from the Emperor himself. Why his guards? I mean, that's a... Vader is that envoy. That would be a governor, like Tarkin was. Grand Moff Tarkin. Not his guards. That is not their role, so it's... That's one of the things where it's like, the Emperor is coming here. Why, I've been wondering why. Everybody found it very weird that we just have some blood red guys standing around. That makes sense. Thank you. Thank you. Can you tell me when? I mean, it's like, you had the clues right there, dude. I don't remember if they're in the movie. I am, when I watch it after finishing the book, I am definitely going to be looking like, are they there? Are they there? Okay. One thing that is interesting that is in here, it's not in the movie. This is not included in the movie, even though a lot of the scene is Vader actually does say quietly, because it does actually make a point that when Vader's talking about the Emperor's coming, and I think actually it was the line before, it is stated, he says it loud enough for everyone to hear, for everyone around them to hear. And basically when he's threatening and intimidating that you need to get this done sooner, the Emperor's, I think it is, the Emperor is displeased with your progress kind of thing. When that is stated, he is saying so everyone hears. It's not just for the commander, which is fair. Even without the intimidation factor, he's not the only one that I want to know this. Everyone needs to know you need to go. Because Vader's there to intimidate and to get them to get their shit done, essentially. So saying that does make a lot of sense. It really does. But then he's very quiet. He basically says it for only the commander to hear. The rebellion... Actually, the mic's up there. So, the rebellion is forming a large armada. And that they know this. I'd like to know a little bit more here. Now, as I was thinking about this criticism, because I don't like that it's like, let's just drop this, and it's like, how? How do we know this? We do find out later in the movie, so it should be in the book, that the Emperor himself leaked the information. Which that could then mean that what has actually happened here is they don't know that the Armada has been formed. Rather, they know the rebellion will react that way to call up an Armada. But even then, that's actually problematic for a couple of reasons. One is the original Death Star was destroyed by fighters, not capital ships. I would not describe a large group of fighters as armadas. Now, yes, you need the capital ships to actually move them around and all that, but it still is, I wouldn't consider that to be an armada. So it does seem like they are referring to the big Mon Calamari cruisers that would go up against the Star Destroyers that we do see in the movie. The other is, why do they actually even know that the Rebellion has these ships? I mean, yes, the Rebellion would have gotten a big boost after the Battle of Yavin, but then Empire Strikes Back happened, where you had transports leaving Hoth, but then suddenly have a fleet with other ships there. I mean, that whole thing was very inconsistent and did not make sense. But it's just how do they even know they have access to these ships, I think is a very reasonable question. I mean, unless... Yeah, I just feel like there is more here. Now, to be fair, it being a prologue instead of a full chapter, and also is setting things up for later in the story, perhaps it is a... I might be overthinking, but maybe there are other things that will be explained. But it's... I don't know, I am that kind of reader and that kind of writer that I want to know why. It's not enough for me to... Especially for something like this, because it is okay, why do they have a large fleet available to them? Why do they have an armada? Because consistently in the movies and in the books, the rebellion is not described as impressive, ever. I mean, say, in A New Hope, the book form of it is a bit more strongly suggested that this is actually civil war, that there are planets that have seceded from the Empire and are helping the Alliance. I mean, they are the allied planets. But these are never named. You never really have any hint of them. It's just like they exist. As, you know, and you're not getting there is an actual coalition of them, that there's any kind of shared governance between... There's really nothing. It may just be a bunch of places being, just under the table helping the rebels. Which also means then that they can under the table stop that, and who's going to know? So it is. I do find this a very significant question then of how could they have an armada? Anyway, but yeah, there's also the whole. I get you'd expect them to fix the flaw in the Death Star, even though technically, why would they even know? I mean, the Death Star was destroyed shortly after it was hit. Vader was already off the Death Star also when the report came in to Tarkin that after analyzing their attack plans, we have an idea that they might actually be able to do this. So Vader technically wouldn't have known. There would be no Imperial survivors that would know. So how would they even have... How would they know to fix that issue? I mean, it is possible that Vader did report back what was happening, then they did the same analysis, but that's not been set up. But there still is the whole... Fighters are actually the thing that you may expect the rebels to go to first, not a large armada. We'll see, because there's also, I know in the movie, the setup with the whole, the battle station is in fact fully operational. The shield is not the only thing that the rebels need to deal with. So we will see, but I do have some suspicion that it won't be answered. That these will be unanswered questions. They're just supposed to take it and go, which is disappointing, but is what it is. I'm just looking at my notes because I think I covered everything. I just want to make sure I did. Yeah, that's really it. You know, here, let me quickly look. I'm not gonna do it another time. I just want to see what where we are with this. Okay, so chapter 1 starts with the construction of the lightsaber, and then the going to rescue Han. So that's probably going to be a few chapters. Rescue of Han. Okay, but we do get the construction of the lightsaber, which I will say, that makes sense to not be in the movie. I know they filmed it. That's sort of a perfect thing for a trailer. It's like you have something dark, you hear the work being done, Luke is silent, but you hear R2 beeping, so it's like, oh, okay, this is Star Wars. But, you let it be dark, or like, just few lights or very focused lights, so you don't really see what all's going on. Maybe some things up on the wall, like you see his helmet mounted there, and things like that. And then it just flashes on and form, well, not flashes on, but like that for the first time, and the green lights up, because that would be something you show that in a theater, man, there would be people immediately applauding, after expecting Return of the Jedi, following Empire. But it makes sense to not have that in the movie, because it's like, you go into the movie, there's going to be a lightsaber, but it's like, this is how you get people excited. So I'm okay with that not being in the movie. But as I said, I do know that that scene was filmed, it just wasn't used. My point is, it makes sense to cut. I'm just kind of looking around a little bit. I guess one thing is, I did say it, but I don't really have it in my notes. They somehow didn't know Vader was coming, but they had all those people there. Yes. Yeah. Still, even though I'd say my criticisms here are more so I have questions about a lot of things. I mean, yeah, the Imperial Guard are being there. It's like, wait, the Emperor's coming? We had no idea. Oh, I guess we should have known. It's like, even setting that one aside, that's like one thing. A lot of this is just I have questions that may be answered, may prove to be answered as I continue. But at least so far, I'm feeling good with it. I mean, I really did not like Empire. I really didn't like it, which I watched the movie earlier today. The movie is better in part because it seems like it's all taking place over a matter of hours. Like, it's all the same day. Whereas in the book, there is more mention of things where it's like, okay, and also there's a lot more training to Luke in the book than in the movie. So, like, okay, days must be passing, and yet it seems like only hours for Falcon. So it's like that for the Falcon crew. That's a major problem there, but in the movie, it does seem to be like everything is happening in sequence, all at the same time, all happening synchronously. There we go. That's the S word I was looking for. It still means that Luke trained very, very fast. That his training then was very, very fast. But yeah, in that critical flaw is helped there, but is still that there's so many flaws in that. I know people love that movie, but it's got so many flaws. One thing that I'd actually have to check, because it's been a bit since I read it, I feel like the order of some of the events for Luke's training changed. I mean, it is also, the book definitely takes more time setting up the lifting of the X-Wing out. Like, Luke spends more time training, whereas in that it seemed like it was still the first day of his training, and it's like he'd not done very much in that. Whereas in the book, I'm pretty sure it had him like this is obviously like day 2 or day 3 that happens. Whereas in the movie, it seems more like it's the same day, or it's like the beginning of the next day, kind of. Yeah. I don't know. I'm definitely looking forward to going through a lot of this, and let me also explain partly why. I should be able to keep this video under 25 minutes. Part of the reason why is, I've said before, I don't have a favorite between them because I just see Star Wars as all 3 movies basically together. I don't really even know them as a trilogy. I know them as just 3 movies, but it's a singular story, so I can't pick one out. But I do have favorite moments. And I really do like the confrontation between Luke and Vader at the end, because of the turmoil that Luke is in. And it's like, that whole scene where he's half lit up in white light, half in blue, and because he's struggling with his emotions. I really like that, and the meaning of that there. So I am very much looking forward to when we get to that. I know it's a different author, but I do like, in Empire Strikes Back, there was comparable moments where it was actually written pretty well. There are lots of things not written well, but that was. So hopefully this new writer, what was the name again? James Caan. Hopefully he does a good job as well. I'm looking forward. And it is also exactly like I was saying before. It is one of those things that because you can get in somebody's head when writing a book that you can't do in a movie, it can be a lot more informative and a lot more powerful even. But also, to be fair, that specific scene, Vader's taunting Luke by basically reading his mind, saying things that he is thinking of. So they might actually leave that out, or will leave out Luke's thoughts, but maybe his reactions, his emotions on top, the external stuff might still be there. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. That's all. So, hey, under 25 minutes. I said I could do it. All right. Yeah. See you next time.